big game. Coach Prime will be playing the Colorado hosting North Dakota State. That is the big game on ESPN. North Dakota State. Colorado is a 9.5-point favorite in that game. We will not be getting a question apparently after from Denver columnist Sean Keeler. We've discussed this in the past. I think Sean Keeler is awesome sports columnist. Holds the Denver team's feet to the fire, and Colorado football became a thing. And Coach Prime doesn't like him, disrespectful. I don't know what's going on. This is not new. Coach Prime, he suspended a really good beat writer at the Clarion Ledger. Not suspended, but he tried to get him fired back when he covered when he was at Jackson State. Prime snowflake, Pat. What do we got?
Yes, Coach Prime. That's why we knew the season was here when Kirk Ferentz is the outlaw and Deion Sanders is a snowflake who's refusing to take questions from a big mean media guy. I thought that was amazing, and especially like Colorado is so carrying his water as they have for every minute that he has been the coach there, that the examples that they cited of the personal attacks on him was like, oh my God. I'm glad I never read my columns that I wrote. I mean, that's like Bobby Petrino, the stuff I wrote about him, how mean that was. And Bobby Petrino then would turn around and sit down with me one-on-one. Took a couple years, but I just like, what kind of absolute namby-pamby world are we living in here, and that Deion Sanders is living in, Colorado is living in? We can't take the criticism. We can't do it. You're getting paid a lot of money, and you're Deion Sanders. You've been an NFL athlete. You've been a Major League Baseball athlete, and all of a sudden you can't handle a little bit of criticism? What on earth is going on? I think this is part and parcel of the fact that most people, in the vast majority of people in the media world, sports media world now, will gladly trade access in exchange for not writing anything critical or saying anything critical or asking hard questions. And so Sean Keeler stands out maybe more now than in a climate where he used to. And yes, all right, there's an element of big city edge that comes. He's a Denver columnist, as Dan said. He covers a lot of pro sports. And like you could say, Bill Plaschke in L.A. covers a lot of pro sports. And then when he needs to rip Lincoln Riley, he will. And it won't be very nice. But that's part of the deal. And I am very surprised that Coach Prime and Colorado are reacting in this fashion.
Well, it also goes against everything that coaches in general talk about, which is, ignoring the media, not letting the outside noise get in and impact decisions and impact your thinking and put the blinders on, all those cliches and things you hear from coaches and from Deion too in the past, I think. And it goes against all that. It's odd behavior. And I understand that they were, some of the headlines on Sean Keeler's columns, they looked at as maybe more personal, attacking the man Deion and not necessarily the coach and all that stuff. But I mean, gosh, just ignore it. Ignore it and move on. Don't let it get to you. Certainly don't do this, because we saw, I think we talked about it on the pod right after it kind of came out. And then, man, the last few days, everybody's picked it up. Like all of these national outlets have run stories with headlines on it. So now you got those headlines to deal with. And you just made a bigger controversy of all of it, in a bigger distraction for your team, who this day in 2024, right, is on social media and sees all this stuff.
This is what he does. I went back. I should have been more prepared, but I remember this. Rashad Milligan was the reporter. He was an excellent reporter for the Clarion Ledger in Jackson, Mississippi. And I when Deion Sanders went to Jackson State, I bought a subscription to the Clarion Ledger because I just knew he'd be making tons of news. And one of their star recruits at the time was charged with domestic violence. And Rashad Milligan reported on the charge in Texas. And they banned him from talking to anyone at the SWAC media days because Deion was upset and Jackson State was upset. It was like, I think we're pointing the finger at the wrong, like, what is he not supposed to report the guy who's getting charged? I mean, like,
just reporting facts.
Yeah. A domestic violence charge has been, I mean, he was expected to plead guilty on a charge of assault causes, and then there was like, then he wasn't going to plan, and I don't know. It was just like, this is what he does. I think we've said this. I think Deion Sanders is the right coach for certain people. I think he's probably extremely difficult and a bully to other people. Certainly the way he runs guys, he's a fascinating guy. He's doing it his way. This is dumb, but again, it brings up it doesn't lend itself to the idea of like, listen, sometimes things aren't fair. Sometimes, I mean, Deion's won in life, man. Like, he has won. Like, what does he care about this? Like a couple lines in the Denver paper. I just think it's one more block of pressure on him to have a huge season. And we don't know what Colorado, we'll be very interested to see what Colorado does. They have an excellent quarterback. They've got some high-end talent. He's trying to build this team in a different way. I am willing to see if it will work. As a contrarian, I'm hoping that it works. But if they don't have a big season, if he thinks whatever got written into Denver, I mean, they're going to eviscerate him all over the country because he's a big name and they've put themselves out there and they need to win. They need to have a big season, and it gets bigger and bigger when you're acting this way. That just doesn't seem like it's going to help. I don't know what it accomplishes.
No, I don't either. And you're right. There are a lot of people out there waiting for this to not work so they can sack dance on the whole Deion as a power league coach guy. And I would like to see it succeed because I think it's been fascinating and he is so different than anyone else. But this doesn't help you in any way, as far as I can figure. One of the things Deion has done at Colorado and at Jackson State was to basically kind of have his own media, right? They've got the production crew that follows him around all the time, and they put stuff on YouTube and wherever. And so they've to a degree tried to circumvent the media, and they still get, I mean, there is plenty of people in the fawning press corps in Colorado willing to roll with however Deion wants to do things. But if you're going to circumvent a large segment of the media, you're also going to have people that don't like that a whole lot, and they're still going to cover the team, and they may be less predisposed to give you the benefit of the doubt. And if you go 4-8 after starting 3-0, that's going to be a problem. And then if you start badly this season with 3 really interesting games to begin,